All right, now in the latest developments, there is a request now for the International Criminal Court to look at the allegations of mass killings during crackdowns on post-election protests in Tanzania last month. And we've seen, of course, that there is quite a lot that is being covered as far as this particular story is concerned. So let's take a look at the implications of this and what exactly is going on the ground. We'll speak to Dr. Paula Cristina Roque, Executive Director of Intelwatch. This is an organization that monitors the political and undemocratic use of surveillance and intelligence services in the global south. A very good evening to you, Doc, and thank you so much for your time. So firstly, let's just start with the concern on what is currently going on the ground there, because there is a sense, you get from the government, for example, to say that this is not indeed the case. But then when you speak to different activists, they tell you of a worrying picture on the ground.
Thank you so much and good evening. So yes, Tanzania had elections on the 29th of October. The internet was shut down a few hours after polling began. Internet service providers were initially blocking VPNs as well as certain websites of social media so that protesters couldn't actually organize. And by midday on the 29th, the internet was completely shut down for 6 days. During those 6 days, there was a massacre in Tanzania. It wasn't just in the key cities of Dar es Salaam and Arusha. It was in the interior, in the coastal towns, in the north and the south. It was a very systematic, structured, and orchestrated clampdown on opposition, on activists, on protesters. Many of them were Gen Z. And we are getting videos and evidence and collating all of that because our next submission, it has already been submitted. So the document that you're referring to has been submitted to the International Criminal Court, the Office of the Prosecutor, by Intelwatch and the World Jurists Association. We are now preparing all the evidence.
And you speak about surveillance rights. As I was going through the submission, quite disturbing, to hear that there is now this, purchasing of surveillance as well as a deployment of this particular equipment in order to be able to monitor what's going on the ground. And this is against dissidents, this is against journalists, you claim, and this is also against civil society.
That's correct. And in fact, it's monitoring of social media accounts. It is geolocating to be able to understand where activists are, to either abduct them or to kill them. And this has happened in the region, not just in Tanzania, but in Kenya. And there's a lot of evidence of Safaricom being complicit, in fact, court cases to that effect, of activists, human rights activists, that were geolocated. The leader of the opposition in Tanzania, Tundu Lissu, who in 2017 was gunned down 16 times with bullets. He had 16 bullets in his body, but he survived. He's now in jail, facing charges of treason. He was geolocated as well. And so Tanzania, like many other governments on the continent, have purchased many surveillance tools that will allow you to transform your phone into not a vehicle of communication, but a vehicle to track you and to understand who you're talking to track them and to locate everything and intimidate. Now, when the lockdown and the internet shutdown occurred, electricity was also switched off. So people couldn't take evidence of morgues with bodies piled up, with assassinations inside people's homes, with snipers killing at crowds that were running, with most of the victims that we have seen, and we have evidence of that, have gunshot wounds to the head. So it was a shoot to kill policy. They still managed to get that evidence. And so they have been releasing the evidence slowly, and it's something that you cannot work against. In fact, you have many investigations now occurring that are geolocating all of this, including satellite footage, to work against the hiding of the evidence, because there are mass graves. You cannot kill between 5,000 and 10,000 people in 6 days and dispose of the bodies quickly. So we're having reports of mass graves being being dug in near cemeteries and military installations, but also of bodies being disposed of in rivers and also being burnt.
And
So what is happening is criminal on many fronts.
And when one reads your submission, but also, different reports every day about what is said to be happening there, there is a sense from the government, for example, if it's not criticism for, international media and how they're covering this particular story, but it's also just to say that there is no such that is currently taking place in their country. So what do you make of the response and the handling of the government of these developments?
Well, the government wanted to create a facade of mass support that wasn't there. In fact, people boycotted the elections. The African Union and SADC, the observation missions, in a very unprecedented way, did not recognize the elections in Tanzania as free, fair, transparent, or even meeting any democratic standards. And so none of the observation missions that were on the ground claimed to have seen an election occurring. And so when President Samia and the ruling party CCM say they had 31 million people vote for them, it's a lie. So they have conducted several denials, a campaign of denialism, which occurs when mass killings and targeted killings, massacres occur. Denial is one of the instruments, and then disinformation. And one of the disinformations that they are now using is that, firstly, they began with saying it was foreigners, which is very dangerous because there are many foreigners, Kenyans, that work in Tanzania. And now they've begun saying from the Muslim community. Now, you must remember that President Samia is Muslim. And she is governing a country that is in its majority Christian. And a lot of imams are coming out and saying, actually, the killings and the chaos was caused by the Christians, by the Catholics. This is very dangerous. It's very dangerous. It's hate speech, and it can't divide a country that is already reeling from tremendous scars, tremendous wounds. And when the president calls for reconciliation, it's going to be very difficult because people are saying, yes, absolutely reconciliation, but we want truth and we want justice before that happens.
And Doc, this is a developing story, and hopefully we get to speak again as you continue then to make these submissions and to see what's happening on the ground, and if the situation, in fact, does get better, and how then the ICC continues to process this. But I tell you what, reading that submission really sent chills down my spine. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Appreciate your time. That's Dr. Paula Cristina Roque, the Executive Director of Intelwatch. This is an organization that monitors the political as well as undemocratic use of surveillance as well as intelligence services in the Global South.